Hi everybody, I'm Christina and this is episode 2 of Talk Skin, Sip Tea. So today's episode of Talk Skin, Sip Tea is kind of an extension on the first one that I did because we're going to keep talking about collagen, but now we want to figure out, should we drink it? And I totally left you guys in suspense after last time, I apologize. So before we talk about collagen, let's talk about tea. I'm drinking out of a mug from Motown the Musical on Broadway today, and I'm drinking collagen. No, I'm kidding. I'm drinking herbal tea. Obviously, the question of the day is, should we drink collagen? Are there actually benefits to drinking collagen? But then the next question is, how do we figure out if there are benefits or not? What we want to do is look at research that's been done on ingestible collagen. However, as nerdy as I am not a scientist. And as skin therapists, we're not scientists or researchers. So what we're going to do today is kind of get two things done. First, obviously figure out, should we drink collagen? But second, we're going to do kind of a crash course on looking at research studies for the skin therapist. So this study in particular is what's called an open label study. And basically what that means is the collagen supplement that they were testing openly has its brand name on it. Also interesting to note, the company that makes the supplement funded the study and the research. So you want to keep in mind potential biases when you look at that type of research. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad, just something to keep in mind. So the part of the study we usually start with is the abstract. And the abstract is basically like a summary or kind of like a cliff notes of the study. So think of it like when you're in high school and you don't want to do your English homework, so you go on cliff notes really quick to see what happened in the chapter so that when your teacher calls on your class, you know who killed Julius Caesar. Spoiler alert, Brutus. I do not feel bad about spoiling that. That spoiler alert is like 2,000 years old. So the basic idea of the abstract here is it mentions that it's an open label study, and it says the data from the study suggests that the collagen supplement can counteract signs of natural aging. Pretty bold claims. Let's see if they hold up. The next part's typically your introduction, and the introduction is kind of like the background information if you're not previously familiar with what the study's talking about. So this one, for example, talks about the physiology of the skin, the dermis, fibroblast cells, which we talked about last time, so I know you guys know all about that. Now we get to the meat and potatoes of the research, and that's the materials and the methods. Now, this is a really important part of the study because it tells you exactly what was done and how it was done. So you can start getting an idea of how they came to that conclusion that we talked about in the abstract. We know that the abstract said this collagen supplement is going to help combat signs of aging. So now we want to figure out, why'd you say that? Let's see if they're legit. So this particular study had 3 different aspects to it, basically 3 different kind of mini studies that were done within this one research paper. I'm going to be focusing on the big one that had 217 participants. The other one, one only had 10 subjects and the other one had 67. So those aren't great numbers as far as giving us a realistic idea. So we're going to stick with the big mamma jamma in this study. So let's talk about those 217 people. For this study, and I quote, "Only subjects due to undergo a cosmetic procedure were recruited," which means we're testing the ingested collagen, but we're testing it on people who were getting some kind of procedure done on their face. What type of procedures, might you ask? The cosmetic procedures include any form of chemical peel or dermabrasion, not microdermabrasion, dermabrasion, non-ablative laser or fractional laser resurfacing, facial plastic surgery, and high-energy or thermage treatments. You know what a thermage treatment is? A non-surgical facelift. Another interesting thing about the people who were recruited is, and I quote, "They were asked to continue with their regular or typical application of topical creams." Now, I'm willing to gamble that the type of people who are going to the dermatologist to receive photofacials and non-surgical facelift and fillers are probably the same type of people who are on prescription retinoids, or perhaps using something that's rich in peptides, or maybe even using a combination of topicals, maybe some of the ingredients that we talked about in the first video that I did. Can you see already why it's so important to look at the research methods? So, day 0, we looked at hydration levels, distribution of fine lines and wrinkles, and the extent of photo damage. However, they were ranked as low, medium, and high, which is very subjective. Then, 60 days later, when they had them come in, they used what's called an ordinal scale to gauge how much improvement they had in those lines. An ordinal scale is a non-specific type of measurement, and it relates to the measurement previous. So what I mean by that, think of if you go to a store, this happens to me when I go to CVS, how was your experience at CVS? Satisfied, very satisfied, and the like. That's an ordinal scale, because we don't really know what is the difference between satisfied and very satisfied. Am I 4% more satisfied? Am I 80% more satisfied? We don't really know, we just know it's more than the previous. So that's what an ordinal scale is, and that's what we're using to rank the difference. So remember, day 0 we used a kind of iffy scale, low, medium, and high. And then on day 60, we're using an ordinal scale, and the parameters they used were no difference, slight difference, significant difference. And again, we don't know how much bigger is the significant difference than the slight difference. Are we talking the line completely gone? Are we talking you can tell if you zoom in really close on a 10 times magnifying mirror? We don't know. That brings us to the results. Now, the results are not the conclusion of the study. That's a little bit different. It's not the conclusive, this is what I found, this is what I've decided, this is the answer. At this point, we're just talking about the data that they collected. So the measurements and the changes of the lines and hydration and dryness that they saw on the client's skin. In research studies, this is typically where you'll see like the bar graphs and the charts and all of the data information. Are you ready for the data? You might need some tea if you don't have tea. Now, of all of the people in the study who were classified as having wrinkled skin, so remember we had that kind of ambiguous way of classifying aging, the people with the highest levels of aging, 69% of them had either visible or significant improvement in their facial lines. However, remember they also had some kind of cosmetic procedure in the middle of that, and they may or may not have been using topical products, and both of those things may or may not have affected the fact that they are seeing a decrease in visible lines. Now let's talk about my favorite part. I'm gonna need a little more tea for this one. This is a part of the study where they look at reduction in the depths of nasal labial folds. So they measured again on day 0, then they measured again on day 60, remember after a cosmetic procedure, to see if there was a decrease in the nasal labial fold. I'm gonna quote, are you ready? Get ready. Not surprisingly, the largest reduction in the number of class 2 wrinkles was observed in subjects who had fillers in their nasal labial folds. You don't say. The study presented here provides evidence that ingestion of this collagen supplement can reduce the signs of aging. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide if you agree with that. So since we've done our breakdown and had a little fun looking at the study, I'll give you a little more science breakdown of some of the things I found in the other studies. Most of what I found doesn't deviate too much from this. There are some better controlled studies than this one, but a lot of the information is basically saying that it is inconclusive whether or not drinking collagen supplements can actually decrease the signs of aging that you're seeing on the skin. Now, there have been a couple studies that look promising. However, they're mostly done in animals. We don't have conclusive evidence of this in humans just yet. So what a couple of them has seen is when an animal ingests collagen, the idea basically is that it breaks down into its smaller parts of amino acids. And we know that amino acids are kind of the building blocks of proteins. Collagen is a protein. So the idea is drink it, break it down, build collagen back up. And a couple studies have shown that when animals do ingest collagen, within a couple hours, if you draw their blood, you are able to see things that are precursors to collagen, like hydroxyproline, which plays a big part in collagen production. However, what has been inconclusive is if that hydroxyproline and other precursors can get from the blood to the skin. That is still kind of up in the air. So that brings us back to the original question of should we drink collagen. Now, scientifically, the jury is still out. Obviously, studies like these don't always give us the greatest hope. However, studies that do show us things like increased hydroxyproline in the bloodstream do give us a little bit of hope. But my personal recommendation, if you want the best results for treating signs of aging on the skin, either for you or for your client, is invest in ingredients topically that we know work. All right, everybody, that is all of the collagen talk that I have for you guys between episode 1 and episode 2. We will retire collagen for now. We'll talk about something different in episode 3. Actually, I don't have an idea for that one yet, so if you have any ideas or questions, you can let me know. Thank you for tuning in again to Talk Skin Sip Tea. Hope you had tea with me. I hope you had fun. I'll see you next time. Cheers.